Lars Mittank did not disappear quietly from a hotel room or slowly vanish from a planned route. He was last confirmed on CCTV running out of an airport, leaving behind the objects most travelers protect first: his phone, wallet, passport, and luggage. That is why the case feels so disturbing. Most missing person stories begin with absence, but Lars's final confirmed moments begin with motion, fear, and a sudden decision no one has fully explained. Lars Joachim Mittank was 28 years old and from Germany. In the summer of 2014, he traveled with friends to Bulgaria for a holiday at the Golden Sands Resort. The kind of trip that should have ended with sunburns, photos, and a normal flight home. But near the end of the trip, something changed. Public accounts describe Lars being involved in an altercation that left him injured, including an ear problem serious enough that he was reportedly advised not to fly immediately. His friends still had flights home, and Lars stayed behind in Varna for another night. That choice placed him alone in a foreign country, injured, anxious, and separated from the people who had been traveling with him. The next part of the story is where the case stops feeling like a normal travel problem. Lars reportedly called his mother, Sandra, and told her that people were after him, speaking as if he believed he was in real danger. Hotel footage and later reports describe behavior that appeared nervous and unusual, pacing, looking around, and moving through the hotel as though he did not feel safe. These details do not prove what was happening inside his mind, but they show that something had shifted before he ever reached the airport. On July 8, 2014, Lars went to Varna Airport, apparently hoping to be cleared to fly home. He still had the chance to return to Germany, reconnect with his family, and turn the strange night into a frightening story rather than a disappearance. He met with an airport doctor who later became part of the public timeline. According to case summaries, Lars was described as nervous and erratic before suddenly fleeing the office. Then came the moment that made the case famous. Lars ran out of the airport, abandoning his luggage, wallet, phone, and passport, the exact things a stranded traveler would need if he planned to go anywhere. Outside, CCTV showed him moving away from the terminal, climbing a fence, and heading into open ground toward a wooded area. Those images became the final confirmed movement of Lars Mittank. The most haunting question is not simply why he left the airport. It is why he ran as if staying there was more dangerous than abandoning every practical link to home. One theory is that Lars was experiencing a psychological crisis. A head injury, stress, fear, lack of sleep, medication, or some combination of factors may have made ordinary events feel threatening. This theory explains the frightened calls and sudden flight, but it still leaves the hardest question unanswered. If he ran alone into the area beyond the airport, why was no confirmed trace found afterward? Another theory is that Lars's fear was not imagined. Maybe someone had threatened him, followed him, or made him believe he was not safe in Varna. This version makes his panic feel rational, but it has a serious weakness. No publicly confirmed evidence has identified the people he feared or proved that a real group was chasing him when he fled. A third possibility is that Lars ran into the countryside, became disoriented, and suffered an accident. Open land near roads, fences, industrial areas, and wooded ground can hide more danger than it appears to from a camera. If he was injured, dehydrated, confused, or frightened, even a short distance could become dangerous. A person running on adrenaline can move quickly into places searchers may not immediately understand as part of the route. But the accident theory has the same problem that keeps returning in this case. A fall, exposure, or injury might explain the silence, yet no confirmed remains have publicly closed the case. There is also the possibility that Lars encountered someone after leaving the airport. A driver, a stranger, or someone in the surrounding area may have crossed paths with him after the cameras lost sight of him. This theory could explain why he disappeared so completely, but it remains speculative. Without a confirmed witness, suspect, or recovered evidence, it is another possibility rather than an answer. The voluntary disappearance theory is usually the weakest practical explanation. Lars left behind his passport, wallet, phone, and luggage, which makes it difficult to imagine a planned escape or a clean new identity. Starting over requires tools, identification, money, communication, planning, and a destination. Lars's final confirmed behavior looked less like a planned departure and more like someone trying to get away from something immediately. The case also became famous because of the footage itself. When people can watch the final confirmed seconds of a missing person, the mystery feels closer, almost solvable, as if the answer should be hiding somewhere inside the frame. But video can only show what the camera saw. Cannot tell us what Lars believed, what he feared, whether the danger was real, or what happened once he moved beyond the edge of surveillance. That is the cruel boundary in this case. We can see Lars run, but we cannot see the reason. His mother's role gives the story its emotional weight. Before Lars vanished, she heard fear in his voice. After he vanished, she was left trying to understand whether her son had been escaping danger, confusion, or something no one else saw. Families of the missing do not only ask where someone went. They ask whether the final emotion they heard was fear, pain, confusion, or a warning that no one understood in time. Lars's disappearance is especially unsettling because the path seems visible at first. Hotel, airport, doctor's office, terminal, exit, fence, field. The route is clear until suddenly it is not. That final gap is everything. Somewhere after the fence, Lars left the world of cameras, travel records, airport staff, and public space, and entered a place where the evidence stopped speaking. The responsible way to tell this story is to separate what is known from what is imagined. Lars disappeared near Varna Airport on July 8, 2014, after fleeing the airport and leaving key belongings behind. What caused him to run remains unresolved. Every theory explains part of the case, but none explains all of it. A psychological crisis explains the fear, a real threat explains the urgency, an accident explains the silence, and foul play explains the disappearance. But no single theory has been proven. That is why Lars Mittank's case still holds public attention years later. It is not only a missing tourist story, it is a visible disappearance where the most important fact remains invisible. He reached the airport with a path home still available. Minutes later, he ran away from that path and toward a place from which he has never been confirmed to return. The camera caught the running. It did not catch the fear behind it, the moment after the fence, or the answer waiting beyond the trees. So the question remains, what made Lars Mittank leave behind everything he needed to get home and run out of the airport as if the only safe direction was away?